Hello everyone. Before starting the video, subscribe to the channel because there are many different scary adventures. Once upon a time, nestled in the heart of a small town, stood an old, dilapidated hospital. It had witnessed countless lives pass through its doors, but now it lay abandoned, haunted by the memories of its past. The town's residents spoke of a dark secret that shrouded the hospital, whispering rumors of eerie occurrences that sent shivers down their spines. Legend had it that the hospital was built on the grounds of an ancient burial site. Many believed that the restless spirits of the departed lingered, trapped within the crumbling walls. But the true horror of the hospital lay not in the supernatural, but in the untold stories of the patients who had suffered within its halls. One rainy evening, a young journalist named Sarah embarked on a quest to uncover the hospital's hidden past. Armed with her notepad and a fearless determination, she ventured into the forsaken building, guided only by the faint glow of her flashlight. As Sarah stepped inside, the air grew heavy with an unsettling silence. The sound of her own footsteps echoed through the empty corridors, sending waves of unease crawling up her spine. She was not alone. She could feel the weight of the hospital's tragic history surrounding her. As she delved deeper into the hospital's dark secrets, Sarah stumbled upon a forgotten ward. Its doors creaked open with a haunting screech, revealing rows of rusted beds, long abandoned but still bearing the stains of suffering. It was here that the hospital's darkest tales unfolded. Sarah's heart raced. She read through the medical records and personal accounts left behind. Each page told story of pain, despair, and the lingering scent of disinfectant. She discovered tales of misdiagnoses, experiments gone awry, and the cries of patients pleading for release from their torment. One particular account caught Sarah's attention. It spoke of a brilliant surgeon named Dr. Alexander, revered for his expertise, but shrouded in mystery. Patients whispered of his cold demeanor and unorthodox methods, leaving them scarred physically and mentally. The hospital had become a breeding ground for suffering under his twisted reign. As Sarah continued her investigation, she stumbled upon an old photograph of a group of nurses. Their eyes seemed to follow her, their smiles frozen in a macabre display. Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, and an icy chill crept down her spine. Suddenly, the hospital's ominous atmosphere intensified. The walls seemed to close in, and shadows danced in the corners of Sarah's vision. The hospital was awakening, its silent walls crying out with the echoes of past pain and suffering. She had stepped into a realm where the horrors of humanity had taken root. Terrified, Sarah made a hasty retreat, clutching the newfound knowledge tightly. The hospital's dark secrets would no longer remain hidden, for she would share the stories of its victims, shining a light on the darkness that had festered within those crumbling walls. Years later, the abandoned hospital was torn down, its memories reduced to rubble. The town's residents breathed a collective sigh of relief, finally free from the oppressive weight that had plagued their souls for so long. But the stories of the hospital's victims lingered, a somber reminder of the horrors that can unfold when humanity's darkest tendencies are allowed to thrive. And so the tale of the haunted hospital lived on, not as a ghostly legend, but as a cautionary tale of the human capacity for cruelty and the resilience of those who dared to uncover the truth. In the heart of a small town stood an old, abandoned hospital. Its faded walls and broken windows gave it an eerie appearance that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to venture near. The locals whispered stories of its dark past, but the truth remained hidden behind the decaying facade. One fateful night, a curious journalist named Emily decided to unravel the mysteries that shrouded the forsaken hospital. Armed with a flashlight and a notepad, she stepped cautiously through the creaking doors, her heart pounding in her chest. The air inside was heavy and filled with the scent of decay. As Emily explored the desolate hallways, she stumbled upon a forgotten wing. Dust-covered medical equipment lined the walls, and the sound of dripping water echoed through the silence. As she made her way deeper into the abandoned wing, Emily noticed a flickering light emanating from a cracked door. She cautiously pushed it open to reveal a dimly lit room. A single, flickering bulb dangled from the ceiling, casting eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. In the center of the room, a rusty hospital bed stood ominously. On the bed lay an old journal, its pages yellowed and fragile. Emily's curiosity got the better of her, and she reached out to touch it. As her fingers made contact with the brittle pages, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the flickering bulb. The darkness engulfed her. A cacophony of whispers surrounded Emily, sending chills down her spine. The voices seemed to come from all directions, their eerie words echoing through the room. They spoke of pain, suffering, and the lost souls trapped within the hospital's walls. Terrified but determined, Emily fumbled for her flashlight and shone it round the room. The pale beam illuminated the words on the journal's pages. They detailed the gruesome experiments carried out in the hospital decades ago. Patients subjected to tortuous treatments, their anguished cries echoing through the corridors. As she read on, Emily's heart raced. The journal spoke of a twisted doctor who reveled in the pain he inflicted. Rumors circulated that he still roamed the hospital, forever bound by his malevolence. Suddenly the room grew colder, and Emily felt a presence behind her. She turned to find herself face to face with a shadowy figure, clad in tattered surgical scrubs. His eyes glowed with a sinister intensity as he reached out towards her. Paralyzed with fear, Emily's mind raced for an escape. In a desperate move, she mustered her courage and shoved the figure aside. Bolting towards the exit, the whispers grew louder, urging her to stay, but she ignored them, fueled by sheer terror. Finally, Emily burst through the hospital doors, her breath ragged and her body trembling. She glanced back one last time, only to find the hospital shrouded in darkness once again. As she stumbled away from the forsaken place, Emily knew that she had come dangerously close to becoming another victim of the hospital's haunting past. The stories whispered by the locals had come to life before her very eyes, leaving her with a chilling realization that some horrors are all too real and remain etched within the walls of that sinister hospital, waiting for their next unsuspecting victim. In the heart of a desolate town stood an old hospital, its crumbling facade serving as a haunting reminder of its dark past. The local residents whispered stories of its unsettling reputation, a place where shadows danced and nightmares came to life. It was not the paranormal that plagued this hospital, but the twisted history it held within its decaying walls years ago. The hospital had been a beacon of hope, a sanctuary for those seeking healing and recovery. But as time wore on, tales of negligence and unspeakable acts began to emerge, staining its once pristine reputation. Patients vanished without a trace, their voices silenced forever within the labyrinthine corridors. One stormy night, Sarah, a young journalist with an insatiable curiosity, ventured into the abandoned hospital, determined to uncover its dark secrets. Armed with only a flashlight and her unwavering resolve, she stepped into the foreboding entrance. Her heart pounding in her chest, the air was thick with a sense of unease. As Sarah explored the hospital's dilapidated halls, peeling wallpaper clung to the walls like desperate souls, and the faint smell of decay hung in the air. Each step echoed ominously, and the only sound she could hear was the haunting whispers of her own fears. As she delved deeper, Sarah stumbled upon a hidden room, concealed behind a locked door. With trembling hands, she picked the lock, revealing a chamber that seemed frozen in time. Rusty surgical instruments glinted in the dim light, and aged medical files littered the floor like forgotten lives. Among the documents, Sarah discovered a harrowing tale of a deranged doctor who had conducted twisted experiments on unsuspecting patients. Horrified, she read accounts of pain and suffering, of lives forever altered by the sadistic hands of the hospital's former guardian. Lost in her own thoughts, Sarah failed to notice the shadowy figure lurking in the corner of the room. As she turned, her flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Panic gripped her as the figure emerged, its eyes gleaming with a sinister intensity. A raspy voice whispered through the darkness, recounting tales of agony and despair. Sarah's heart raced as she realized she was not alone. The figure, a ghostly apparition of the deranged doctor, reached out with skeletal hands, its touch icy and suffocating. Driven by fear and adrenaline, Sarah ran, her footsteps echoing through the haunted corridors. The hospital seemed to come alive, its walls closing in around her. The ghostly presence pursued her relentlessly, its malevolent laughter echoing in her ears. Just when all hope seemed lost, Sarah stumbled upon a hidden exit, her salvation from the nightmarish depths. As she burst through the doors into the stormy night, the hospital's oppressive presence lifted, leaving her gasping for breath. Sarah never returned to the hospital, haunted by the memories that lingered within her mind. The old building stood as a stark reminder of the darkness that can fester within human hearts, a place where the line between healer and tormentor had been irreversibly blurred. The townsfolk continued to avoid the hospital, their fear etched into their very souls, for within those decaying walls, the legacy of suffering and the echoes of lost souls remained, a chilling testament to the horrors that had transpired. And the haunting whispers of the hospital's tormented past would forever haunt the dreams of those who dared to venture near.